Let's be honest for a moment. You know exactly what you need to do. The path is not hidden. The instructions are not complicated. You know that waking up 1 hour earlier would change your career. You know that 30 minutes in the gym would save your health. You know that sitting down to write that business plan is the only way to escape the rat race. You hold the key in your hand. You are standing right in front of the door, but you cannot move. It starts as a whisper, a subtle resistance in your chest. Then it becomes a weight. Your brain, the most complex biological machine in the known universe, suddenly turns against you. It weaponizes your own intelligence. It gives you 1,000 logical reasons to wait, to delay, to seek comfort. It's too cold today. I'm too tired. I'll start on Monday. And just like that, the moment passes. You retreat to the safety of your phone, scrolling through the lives of other people who did not hesitate. We call this laziness. We call it procrastination. But modern neuroscience has a different name for it. It is called limbic friction. It is a biological war between your prefrontal cortex, the seat of your logic and dreams, and your limbic system, the ancient reptilian part of your brain that cares only about safety, comfort, and conserving energy. Let's look under the hood of your skull for a moment. For decades, scientists thought willpower was a metaphor, but recently, researchers have identified the exact physical location of willpower in the brain. It is a small structure called the Anterior Mid-Cingulate Cortex, aMCC. Think of the aMCC as a muscle. Studies show that when you do something you enjoy, this area stays asleep. But when you do something you hate, when you force yourself to run in the rain or stare at a difficult spreadsheet, the aMCC activates and physically grows. This is the biological secret. The people you admire, the masters, don't have less fear than you. They simply have a giant, hypertrophic aMCC. They have built a physical bridge in their brain that allows them to override the limbic system. But this is not just biology. It is ancient wisdom. 900 years ago, in the mist-covered mountains of Japan, warriors faced this same enemy. They found a solution, not a hack, but a fundamental shift in consciousness. It is called the Lotus Method. To understand this method, we must look at the world that created it. The 12th century in Japan was not a time of cherry blossoms and poetry. It was the era of the Genpei War, a brutal, bloody civil war that tore the country apart. The streets of Kyoto were stained with blood. Famine and plague were everywhere. It was a time of Mappo, the degenerate age. In this chaos, a new breed of warrior emerged, the Sohei, the warrior monks. These were armies of religious zealots, wrapping their faces in white cowls, marching down mountains to burn temples. And the king of these monsters was Benkei. Saito Musashibo Benkei stood over 2 meters tall. He possessed the strength of 10 men. He was wild, arrogant, and ruled by his impulses. Benkei represents the raw, untamed ego. He represents brute force. He vowed to collect 1,000 swords from unworthy samurai. He believed that strength was the only thing that mattered. He had collected 999 swords. He was invincible, or so he thought. Then, the 1,000th opponent appeared on the Gojo Bridge. He was not a giant. He was a small, slender nobleman named Minamoto Yoshitsune. Yoshitsune did not wear heavy armor. He was playing a flute. He walked onto the bridge with a terrifying sense of calm. Benkei laughed and attacked. He swung his massive naginata with enough force to shatter stone, but he hit nothing but air. Yoshitsune didn't block. He flowed. He leaped onto the thin railings of the bridge, balancing like a bird. Benkei grew furious.
He swung harder, faster, consuming all his energy. He was fighting his own anger. He was fighting his own lack of control. Finally, the giant collapsed, not from a wound, but from exhaustion. In that moment of defeat, Benkei realized the truth. True power does not come from resistance, it comes from acceptance. He bowed to Yoshitsune. He became a student of discipline. This transformation brings us to the core symbol of our method, the lotus flower. The lotus is sacred not because it is beautiful, but because of where it grows. It does not grow in clean, sparkling water. It grows in the mud, the muck, the decomposing swamp. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "No mud, no lotus." The mud is essential. Without the mud, the lotus dies. This is the metaphor for your life. The mud is the project you are avoiding. The mud is the anxiety you feel when you sit down to work. Modern society tells you to run from the mud, but the Lotus Method says you need the mud. The struggle is not an obstacle to your growth. The struggle is the nutrient for your growth.
So, how do we apply this ancient wisdom to the 21st century? How do we build that bridge in our brain? We break it down into 4 distinct steps. Step 1 is nintai. There is a difference between Western patience and Japanese nintai. Think of the Japanese tea ceremony. The host sits on their knees, seiza, for hours. The pain is excruciating, but look at their face. It is calm. They are not ignoring the pain, they are greeting it. When you first face a hard task, your amygdala screams. This is the moment most people quit. The practice? Use the 2-minute freeze. The next time you feel the urge to quit, do not fight it and do not give in. Just sit there, stare at the wall. Allow the feeling of boredom to wash over you. Be the seed in the dark soil. Wait. The friction will pass. Step 2 is shisei, the posture. To the samurai, the center of thinking was not the brain, it was the hara, the belly. When we are anxious, our energy rises to our chest. We become top-heavy and easily knocked over. Hara ga suwaru, the belly sits. This means to be calm and composed. Science calls this embodied cognition. Your mind takes cues from your body. If you sit like a victim, you feel weak. If you sit like a warrior, you feel ready. The practice? Before you start deep work, physically reset your state. Stand up, straighten your spine, breathe into your tanden, your lower belly. Embody the identity of the person who does the work before you even do it. Step 3 is kensho, seeing one's true nature. As the lotus rises, it seeks the light. Our problem today is a dopamine deficit. We focus only on how far we have to go, and we despair. The samurai practiced hansei, self-reflection. They hacked their own reward system. The practice? Track your micro-wins. Did you write 1 paragraph? Did you do 5 push-ups? Acknowledge it. Validate it. This releases dopamine, which is the fuel your brain needs to keep pushing through the mud. Step 4 is kaika, the blooming. There is a story of a Zen archery master. He releases the arrow without aiming, yet it hits the center. He says, "I did not shoot the arrow shot itself." This is Mushin, the mind of no mind, or what we call flow. When you practice nintai, shisei, and kensho every day, neuroplasticity takes over. The friction disappears. You stop negotiating with your alarm clock. You simply act. The discipline has moved from your conscious brain to your subconscious. You have become the arrow. You might be thinking, this is great history, but does it work today?
I am not a samurai fighting on a bridge? The answer is yes. The Lotus Method is timeless. Let's look at two modern masters who, without knowing it, perfected this exact framework. One represents the body, the other represents the mind. Case Study 1. The Modern Benkei, David Goggins. If you know his story, you know he started in the deepest mud imaginable. He was overweight, abused, and broken. His limbic system screamed at him every day to give up. But Goggins did something neuroscientists now study. He didn't look for a hack to make it easy, he looked for the pain. He calls it callousing the mind. We call it nintai. When he decided to become a Navy SEAL, he had to lose over 100 pounds in months. He ran on broken feet. He wasn't motivated, he was possessed by discipline. Goggins proved that when you force yourself to do what you hate, you don't just get tougher, you physically alter the structure of your brain. You turn the mud into a fortress. Case Study 2. The Monk of Creativity, Haruki Murakami. But maybe you are not a soldier, maybe you are a creator. Let's look at Haruki Murakami, one of the world's greatest living novelists. Writing a novel is like fighting a war in your head. Most writers wait for inspiration. Murakami does not wait. He uses shisei and kaika. When he's writing a novel, his routine is terrifyingly precise. He wakes up at 4 a.m., he works for 5 to 6 hours straight, no phone, no distractions. Then he runs 10 kilometers every single day. He says, the repetition itself is the important thing. It's a form of mesmerism. He realizes that physical endurance builds the mental endurance needed to write complex stories. He doesn't write because he feels creative. He writes because he has trained his biology to bloom at 4 a.m. regardless of the weather. What do the Navy SEAL and the novelist have in common? They stopped negotiating with their feelings. They realized that motivation is a feeling, and feelings are like the weather, unpredictable and fleeting. But discipline is a structure. It is the stem of the lotus. It holds you up whether it's sunny or stormy. But wait, what happens when you fail? Because you will. You will try this method, and one day the mud will be too deep. You will skip the gym. You will binge watch that show. Does that mean the method failed? No. In Japan, there is an art called kintsugi. When a valuable bowl breaks, they don't throw it away. They glue the pieces back together with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The result is a bowl that is more beautiful, more valuable, and stronger than the original. The cracks are not hidden, they are highlighted. When you slip up, do not hate yourself. That's the old way. Apply kintsugi to your discipline. Look at the crack, understand why it broke, and fill it with the gold of learning. Your failures are not proof that you are weak. They are the design features of your unique strength. We are not fighting with swords on a bridge in Kyoto. Our wars are fought in quiet rooms. Our enemies are distraction, comfort, and apathy. But the rules of victory haven't changed. Growth never comes from the easy path. It comes from the mud. So the next time you face that invisible wall, remember Benkei. Remember the lotus. Don't run from the struggle. Lean into it. Rise through it and bloom. Keep rising.